Hey y'all, welcome to Cocktail Hour. This is your midweek mini episode. I am Meg.
And I'm Nikki. In today's episode, we are covering some of the worst things that people have seen at weddings.
And I'm jumping right in because the first one that I read kind of stopped me in
Did it
my
for you?
tracks. So it says the meal was given depending on whether you were the bride or the groom's side. And there was a big difference. Parents of the bride and groom had very different financial statuses and they each provided for their guests based on that. We had hand stamps.
That's so crazy to walk into a wedding and have them be like, name, okay, bride side, stamp. Name, okay, groom side,
I
stamp.
wonder what the differences were. Like, okay, you get spaghetti or you get,
I,
lobster and steak and
I'd be fine with spaghetti though. I think
I mean,
like chicken fingers versus like a steak is
true.
totally different. Or like
To be
chicken
fair, I would
nuggets.
take the
I was gonna
chicken
say I like chicken
tendies.
nuggets too. But I did go to a wedding recently where the bride was very not happy with what happened. There was a miscommunication with catering, and when the food came out, it was every other person got a different food. So like it was supposed to be a three-course meal. So like soup salad, your entree that you chose or whatever, and then the dessert comes out. Well, when the food came out, it was I got soup and then the people next to me got salad. So every other person was like either soup or salad, and they didn't choose. It was just at random. Luckily, I got soup because that soup was
It was
fire.
amazing.
But I felt bad for the salad people because they were like, "Oh, I can't wait to try the soup next."
Yeah,
And
and
then the
it's like
salad
you
got
don't get
taken
those.
and it never came.
I don't know why
So,
I've never, maybe I just don't pay attention at weddings. I've never seen soup salad. I've never seen soup.
oh, it was
I've
so good.
always just seen salad. I think soup sounds amazing at
Oh,
a
it
wedding.
was literally the best soup I swear I've ever had. Um, okay. I went to a wedding where the bride insisted on traveling by horse and carriage to the reception. It took ages as the venue was a few miles from the church. Everyone was just standing around waiting for the bride and groom to show up in their horse and carriage. When they eventually turned up, the bride insisted on her and her new husband going to their hotel room to consummate the marriage because she was desperate to get pregnant. So there was even more standing around until they showed up, and it was all really, really cringy. My guess is they had to take that horse and carriage to the hotel room to consummate as well. Just fuck in the carriage.
Just
Like
fucking the
get
carriage.
get over it.
Also, maybe this is a hot take, but like,
Consummating a marriage? Who
while
does that?
guests are waiting for you.
That's crazy.
Now, I do understand. I actually think it's very common for couples not to have sex on their wedding night. Like, you've partied all day long.
You're
You are
exhausted. Not even if
exhausted.
you haven't partied, you're just
Yeah,
tired.
you might be drunk. Like, you're just tired, but to pause the day and be like, we're gonna go bang really quick
Everybody wait. Hold
is
your horses.
kind of like, eh. It's kind of like the whole thing where it's like, yeah, we're trying to have a baby. And it's like,
Um,
so he's just like, yeah,
splooging in you?
yeah.
I didn't
We
ask.
don't need to know that.
Don't
Yeah.
tell me that.
Anywho, so it was at a Mormon church, and for some reason, Mormon churches have an indoor basketball court
Not
in
all
them.
Mormon churches, by the way. Like, let me just clarify.
Never
Like,
been in one,
a
so
lot of churches have basketball courts in them or like whatever. Like, I used to play
like a rec
volleyball.
center.
Yeah, but like just in general. So
Okay,
anyway,
that's good.
continue.
That's good context.
Yeah.
Half of the court was a wedding reception, and the other half was a pickup basketball game being played by a bunch of strangers who wouldn't leave. The ball hit the food table a couple times.
That just sounds like poor planning.
That's not. And also, if I were like playing tennis and then the court next to me was a wedding reception, I'd
I'd
be
be like,
like,
I'm so sorry. You know what? Let me take my fucking game
yeah,
and take it elsewhere or just like reschedule with the
yeah,
boys and play next
we
week.
can quit for today. Why would you continue to play?
It is not that serious.
Lord.
The bride wanted her cat at the wedding, and the groom and his best man brought the uncaged cat in the car and went through the car wash right before the wedding. The cat freaked out and scratched up the groom's face and pissed all over the best man's tux an hour before the wedding started. First of all, as a cat girl, cat
I
woman,
was gonna say, we both own a cat whom we love
yeah,
very much.
I got multiples. I be slinging cats. I'm trying to get another cat. I'm not gonna lie. I keep telling my mom, I'm just like, I think we need another cat.
Wait for the cat distribution system to give one to
Oh,
you.
okay, but it did. I found one in the backyard. It was staring at me. We locked eyes and then it ran away and I tried to trap it, but it wouldn't. Anyway, as a cat person, this is insane. And if you are marrying
Yeah.
somebody who's not a cat person, you at least have to warn them that you need to secure the cat in such a way that this does not happen.
I gotta be honest, as much as I love Blue,
Yeah, you're not coming to my wedding.
I'm not, no, you're not coming to my wedding. Even the dogs, that would be really tough. And I would literally have a dog handler bring them,
Yep.
take a few pictures, and then
And
they
take
can go.
them.
But the cat, like, those are shiesty motherfuckers.
Cats and dogs are not the same.
Yeah. To wrangle a cat. Now, granted, I've seen cats where people like hike
Yeah,
with
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
cats, and those
That's
are
different.
top tier
That's
felines, but not many
Those
cats.
are AI created cats. Those are not, that's not what we got going on in our houses.
Agreed. The groom got into a fist fight with one of the bartenders and called one of the guests. I'm sorry, start over. The groom got into a fist fight with one of the bartenders, and one of the guests got so drunk that the EMTs were called. The police car that carried the groom away closely followed by the ambulance. I actually consider it one of the best weddings I've been to, at least in terms of being memorable. But the bridal couple, who are still married 20 odd years later, may disagree. See, we just talked about
I was
this.
just going to say, love that they're still married 20 years later. Like at the end of the day, all we know though, they could be fucking miserable and
Oh, yeah,
hate
they
each
could hate
other
each other.
because people do that too. But I would look back and think that makes for a great wedding story. Like,
Yeah.
no, my spouse getting into a fist fight with the bartender because he's so drunk, embarrassing. Yes.
Yeah.
Will you get an earful from me later? 100%, because don't be a douche. But like in hindsight, were you drunk and just like an idiot? Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, the groom never showed up. He was drinking and doing drugs the night before and landed himself in the hospital. They ended up getting married the next night in a stairwell. So the groom never showed up to his actual wedding day because he was drinking and doing drugs the day before his wedding day and wound up being hospitalized because of it. So he never showed up to his wedding day. And then the day after his wedding, he got married in a fucking stairwell because he was being a crazy person. And that is somebody you do not marry.
No.
You do not marry that person.
And we just like Easter egg, because we talk about this on Friday's episode as well. Is like sometimes it's better to just cut your losses and be like, you know what?
I'm
Never
good, brother.
mind.
I'm good.
And it is hard. I have always, and I think you as one of my closest friends can attest to this. I really struggle sometimes watching people's decisions if it's different than how I would have handled it.
Yeah.
And I even got that feedback when I worked in corporate America. One of my bosses, who I love dearly, was like, Meg, you can't get frustrated with people because they're not doing things how you would do them. Like, how you do them is awesome, but that doesn't mean it's the only way to do them. But when I hear things like this, I'm a person who I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I will leave a relationship. I will leave a friendship. I just saw this thing on TikTok a while back that said, like, you think I'm worried about you and I not being friends anymore? Like, I didn't ghost my own dad?
No,
like,
literally.
I don't fucking talk to my dad. You think I care about cutting ties with you? So I'm just one of those people who I'm like, why would you marry this
No,
person?
makes no sense.
But maybe there's extenuating circumstances that I don't know about. Anywho, we were invited to the reception, but not the ceremony. When we arrived, it was as if the reception had been going on for a couple hours already. The bride seemed surprised that we were even there. We grabbed our gift off the table and left.
As you fucking should.
Yeah.
I'm leaving too. If my presence is not welcome, mind you, it's not about me. It's not my wedding day.
Yeah.
But if my presence is not welcomed and you don't want me there, don't invite me in the first place. And don't give me a snub by
Yeah.
inviting me to a reception and then telling me the wrong time so that I show up late and looking surprised when I get there when you're the one who filled out the fucking invitation.
Also, not only like, am I not welcomed at your wedding? If you're not excited to have me there, that's another thing. And again, we talk about not one size fits all, but like when you're planning a wedding, this shit is costly.
Yep.
Don't invite people you don't want to. Now, with that being said, I also have to advocate for parents because I think about it and I go, well, damn. Like, if I had a kid and I was really struggling as a parent and my community, like my neighborhood, maybe really kicked in and like helped them and they've been with them since birth and like we've known these people for 20 years, 30 years, I would kind of like that they were there. But in the same breath, it's like, okay, well, if you're inviting the Target cashier lady because she smiled at you, mom, I need you to wrap it up
Yeah.
because this is costing me $100 per person for this wedding. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
But
Agreed. Man. All right. The bride had an audible, profanity filled, and very loud meltdown in the church entryway that reverberated around the congregation because her elderly grandmother had not adhered to her preferred colored theme for the wedding day. She wanted everyone in black and white so her dress would stand out. Apparently, the tiny lady who loved her ruined her everything on her wedding day due to her duck egg blue hat. It was insane. That's so
Old
sad.
people already kind of have it hard. Like, they're
They're
dying.
struggling, you guys. Be nice to the old
Be
people.
nice. We are all, that worries me so much where I go like, God, I don't want to get old because you become like invisible to society.
Oh,
I know. I
my
think about
God.
this a lot. You really do though. Now, granted, it's not, I love, and we've talked about this before, like you have Papa who is with you guys, like living in you have a multi-generational house. Like, but there are grandparents who
I
literally don't see their
know.
kids, their
That makes me so
grandkids, they're like
sad.
stuck at home. I just like get so worried about things like that. But be nice to them.
Don't be a shitty grandchild.
Also, don't be a shitty grandparent.
Yeah.
If you're like
Meh.
mad about like people using the same water
Yeah.
fountain, fuck off. I don't care about you
Literally.
anymore. I'm not helping you cross the street.
Sorry.
And fuck your duck blue egg hat. But I don't know if
Not
that's the
this
case.
granny.
Yeah,
This
she
granny
sounds
seemed like a
nice.
tiny, nice lady who just, maybe grabbed the wrong hat out of the closet that day.
Right. Her cataracts are kicking up. She can't see.
Thought you were gonna say her
colors.
cat pissed on it, like in the last one.
Okay, I was a bridesmaid at a close friend's wedding. Her mother-in-law was a weirdo. A lot of mother-in-laws, by the way, are weirdos.
I
I have a
know.
great one though. I feel very lucky. I don't know about, I'm not asking about your situation. I don't know, but I love my mother-in-law. My ex, I'm gonna call it out, and I hope you're listening. You're an evil woman.
Really?
His mom, the first time she met me, she saw a couple tattoos that I had. She flicked, this is before she has spoken a word to me. First time meeting me, she flicks me in the forehead and she goes, fucking tattoos. And I was like, and I stayed with this man for 6 years.
That's actually mental illness
Diabolical
behavior.
diabolical.
Yeah.
But good luck to whomever's in that situation now.
Have fun.
Okay, back to the story. So, her mother-in-law was a weirdo. She insisted she be in the wedding party. So the mother-in-law insisted that she be in the wedding party. When we were helping the bride get dressed, her wedding dress was ridiculous. She kept pinching the bride, like helping her put on stockings and pinching her butt. It came to a head when we were helping her with her lingerie, and the mother-in-law literally tried sticking her finger in the bride's butt. Like, I saw it. It was fucking bizarre. The bride I don't know if I can get through this one. Okay. The bride slapped the shit out of the mother-in-law. Cops were called and things got crazy.
I just need to know like if they followed through with the wedding at that point because I would not. Again, I would just like no. I'm not dealing with that for the rest of my fucking life.
I need a follow-up on this story. So if you were the bride whose mother-in-law tried to have them stick her finger up your ass, I need you to follow up with us.
Also, this is totally a British thing too because they said bum and they say stockings and they like putting on lingerie under your wedding dress as if that's like a normal thing. I don't know. People I see wear Spanx. Like,
yeah, which is funny. I feel like in the movies, a lot of the times they're wearing lingerie, but nowadays they're wearing Spanx. Now, I have thought about this though. Like, underneath my wedding dress, I could see like a corseted situation if I did a strapless because I'd need like the girls up here. But like, I don't think I'm putting on like a
no.
thong and all this stuff
No.
because at the end of the night, I'm a sweaty, gross mess.
And I'm going to sleep.
We're not getting busy.
Don't touch me.
No.
We went to a friend's wedding about 20 years ago in a sweet little town. The hotel was lovely and also the site of the reception. The wedding was early at around lunchtime in a big French Catholic cathedral. It was about 95 degrees outside and the church was not air conditioned at all. The wedding was a full mass plus the actual wedding ceremony, so it was very long. We were starving, hot, and thirsty by the time that it all ended. There were cocktails at the hotel while the photos were being taken, which took about 3 hours. We didn't want to eat because we were expecting dinner. Everyone took their seats, did the usual speeches, and all of that jazz. There was never any food. We left and ordered pizza to our room. The following day, there was a gift opening with brunch, and the brunch was had before any guests had arrived by the groom and bride and their families. None of the guests were fed the entire weekend. It was a very hungry weekend.
No food at a wedding, no food at a brunch where you're opening gifts
No.
from people.
How about this? I'm not going.
No. Here's my thing. A dry wedding, do it up, baby.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't care.
I
but
don't care.
I need to be fed.
That's like a human thing.
I need food. I'm not going.
That's nuts.
Literally, call me crazy, call me high maintenance. If you're not feeding me at an event that you're inviting me to, but you're feeding yourself and your family, I'm not going.
Don't have a wedding. That's clearly, you're not having a wedding. You're asking for gifts.
Here's the thing. At my wedding, I don't want to do like a big seated dinner by any means necessarily, but will I have a food truck here or there or have food that is available to my guests who have been there all day, sweating at a 3-hour fucking Catholic mass for me? Sweating out of every pore of their body for 3 hours straight and then not feeding them for an entire day. What do you expect people to DoorDash?
Yeah.
Like, you want people to go to Subway and bring their own food to your wedding as they're sitting unwrapping their sub while your dad's giving his speech and crying? That's crazy behavior.
Crazy. And let's also talk about food really quick. If you are planning a wedding, just know that your guests will love something like a food truck or whatever more than this chicken and potato seated meal. You may think it looks nicer, but your guests, like, they're just like, great, another shitty wedding meal.
Let the people eat, brother.
Yeah, let them eat something good. I realized that this is another hard one. I realized that I didn't actually want to marry him. And that was, in fact, the loneliest day of my life because he didn't even talk to me. He got so drunk, I had to knock on my sister's door to help me get out of my dress. There was hundreds of buttons down the back while he was passed out, sprawled on the bed. The guests had a great time. It was a beautiful wedding. We are divorced.
Honestly, self-explanatory, very sad.
Am I crazy for this next statement? If I love Adam to death, and I know this would never happen, but if Adam and I's wedding day came along and he was so blackout drunk, wasn't talking to me, partying with his buddies, whatever, this man doesn't have friends, but let's say he did. Let's say he did. And it's already wedding day, like we're going through with it or whatever. I'm not signing.
No, I'm not signing. I'm not signing
the
anything.
License.
No.
Nope. We just had a big ass party.
Nope.
That's what we did.
We're not married.
We're not married. I am not going through a
No.
DIVORCE. Not doing it.
Nope.
Hashtag Loretta Lynn, I think is who's thinking.
And not legally changing my name either. And like going through the process of doing all of that shit for somebody who ignored me on my wedding day.
Yeah.
No.
And we will talk about this on Friday's episode as well, a situation where it's like, hey, you knew weeks or months beforehand that you didn't love them. Like, you should have... But if on the wedding day it's hitting you, I understand going through with it. Everyone's already there. Like, do you have fun? Like, have fun with your friends.
But don't legalize it.
Don't legalize it. You don't have to. There's nothing saying you have to do that. Anyways.
I don't know the word on the next one.
Okay. I think I do because I think that I had this at a wedding. I think it is like Scottish dancing.
That would make sense.
Instructor.
That's kind of what I thought.
But okay, yes, a social event at which there's a Scottish or Irish folk music. But
how do you pronounce it?
Oh, Kaylee. I
Kaylee.
knew that. My couple from January is going to be like, bitch, we said it 18,000 times at the
Play it
wedding.
again.
Kaylee.
Like the name Kaylee.
Kaylee. That's what I thought. It's a very Scottish thing.
I read it and I was like, I think that's okay, Kaylee.
Okay, my husband and I used to play in a Kaylee band, which is a Scottish band, for those of you wondering. And we played for many weddings. At one truly memorable one, the bride and groom were already very drunk when we arrived to set up, and they pretty much disappeared for the rest of the evening. Their two sets of families sat on opposite sides of the marquee with their backs to each other all night, and nobody from one side spoke to the other. Not a soul danced all evening, so we just played our music amongst ourselves. Goodness knows what the history was between them. At the end of the night, the best man tried to leave without paying us, so our dance caller had to chase him across a field in the dark to get our fee off of him.
I'm just picturing you
literally.
booking it.
And then they go on to say, I've often wondered how long that marriage lasted, which is so interesting because Craig will ask me, like, can you ever tell, like, if couples are gonna last, or how, like, what does that feel like on a wedding day? And I
What
won't.
would you think?
I'm not sharing my answer.
I will. Very often there's one of two, and it could be on either side of the couple, right? And let me also call out, saying like husband and wife, it's so habitual.
Yeah.
This could be anybody.
Yeah.
I don't care who you marry, as long as you're not dicks. But let's say it's person number one, person number two. If one of them is being a dick to the other, like, I sit there and I go, I don't think this is gonna go. Like, if this is the happiest day of your life and you're being an asshole to one another, I don't love that. And sometimes, I'm gonna use bride and groom, sometimes on the groom side, what that normally looks like is being so uninterested in anything, in the couple, and enjoying their day, nothing.
Yeah.
And on the bride side, what that looks like is just being like overly critical, not an enjoyable person at all. And I go, baby girl, how are you on a day-to-day basis if this is how you're being on your wedding day? Not a vibe. So that's what I will say. When I see that, I kind of go,
Which I can understand and respect. However, I don't know.
Sometimes you just have a gut feeling. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've seen that. Like, I feel very lucky. And some couples they hate getting on a Zoom call. And they're like, oh, I'm just trying to book a wedding vendor. I don't want to have to talk to all these people. But this is kind of why I do it.
Yeah.
Is because I'm like, I want to see how you interact with each other.
Yeah.
I've had consultations with couples where they don't seem like they get along at all. They really seem to not like
Hate
each other. And I'm like, thank you so much for taking time to meet with me. At this time, I don't think I'm the right person for this or whatever. And no, I'm not sending you recommendations because I'm not the right person, because I don't want to put anyone in the position
to work with you.
To work with you.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is your wedding. This should be somewhat fun. It can be stressful, but it should be fun at times.
It can be stressful. And you never know.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay, next one. At the after party, the groom spent the whole night watching a basketball game on TV at the bar. See, this is exactly what I mean by being uninterested.
Yep. This is an excellent point right here.
Couldn't even be bothered to turn around and say hi to any of the guests. Just sat there at the bar, eyes fixed on the TV the whole time. When it was time for him to make a speech, he just said, this was supposed to be a special day, but my team lost, so I fucking hate it. Fuck all of you. This sucks. Needless to say, that marriage lasted all of a week or two. Okay, I'm also going to say something that might get me some hate.
What?
Sometimes when I read things like this, I go, this feels like a shut up ring. This feels like
you put a ring on your finger to make you stop asking him, when are we going to get married? Are you going to propose? Are you going to put the question?
Yeah.
But then that goes back to the point. Like, that's not somebody you want to be with anyway. If you have to convince somebody to have to want to marry you, then that's like actual insanity. Yeah. And if you're showing up on your freaking wedding day and your groom is being an absolute douche lord, like, that's why I didn't even need to answer the last question, because it's like stuff like this, if it's happening and you're seeing it, then yeah, that guy's a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a dick because your sports team is losing, grow up. I get it if it's like the Super Bowl or like the biggest thing and you've been a lifelong fan, but grow the fuck up. You're 30-something, 20-something years old. Get over it.
If you were a Chiefs fan and your wedding day was on Super Bowl, then I could see it. But also, why the hell did you book it on Super Bowl? But And there's a difference. I will say, Adam and I, we've talked about this before. Adam and I did not get engaged until we were 5 years in. And some people are like, ugh, like he must have not wanted to marry you. I don't know, maybe. He seems to like me, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we looked at it from a financial perspective. For like, there were so many things where we were like, okay, are we ready to be married?
Yeah.
But it was not like a constant, he's like, well, I don't know if I want to be married. I don't know if I want to be married. Because if that were the case, I would have been like,
Okay, bye.
bye, that's
Not,
fine. But
yeah.
I'm not here to convince you to marry me. So there are situations in which to have conversations. Marriage is a very big commitment. Have a conversation around it. It shouldn't, in my opinion, it would be very scary for me to be proposed to when we've never spoken about it. I don't know what, like, how do you want children? Do we want all the same things? Do we what is our marriage
Yeah.
going to look like? But if you are really wanting to marry someone and you are downright begging them and they eventually just say fine, like fine, here's your ring. Do you actually think that is going to be a good marriage?
No, what that gives too is like this girl went, bought her own ring, gave it to him, and was like, okay,
Yeah.
like at
Just
the end
give
of the
this to
day,
me.
I'm not dealing with that. And mind you, I am somebody who has no interest in actually like planning a wedding or like getting married anytime soon because Craig and I, we just like, we're so happy with where we are. We
Yeah.
don't need to go and do, like, it's just not what we have planned for the next year.
Yeah.
Like that's just not what we've talked about. But have we talked about all of those things that you just listed? Yeah. But if you're doing that with somebody and they're literally like tuning you out, ignoring you, more interested in their sports game that's on TV than having those serious conversations with you, why would you want to force that person to marry you
Yeah.
anyway? Like there are people who I think, like the story that we'll share on Friday, there are people who just want so badly to move things along so quickly that they're willing to just settle and do whatever the fuck it is that they have to do to get a ring, to get married, to have the kids.
Yep.
Please don't.
No.
Like you're just torturing yourself in the end.
Yeah, you're gonna be miserable. You think your kids are gonna like being around a bunch of
No.
people who hate each other? Probably not.
Oh, my youngest sister's wedding. One of my sister's friends was wearing quite a short summer dress to the wedding. She spent the evening sitting in a manner that let it be known that she wasn't wearing any underwear. She waited till someone looked in her direction, pulled up her dress, and spread her legs. Very disturbing, especially given the number of children running around. Fuck out of here. I'm laying you out, point blank. In my wedding dress, I don't care. I'm tripping you and dragging you out of this room. Get out.
Let's take it further. I'm calling the police. Indecent exposure. You've shown your
To a minor.
To a minor. Get out.
You're a felon. You're a felon.
Also, on that note, can we just talk about, so I went to, this is how I know I'm getting old. I go to Sephora and all these little girls
Are their cheeks out?
Their cheeks are out.
Their stomachs are out.
Cheeks, stomachs. They
I
look
know
like
that.
they just came from tumbling class. And I'm like, but I also just think this is the outfit you picked for today. And they're holding a $50 retinol. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, get out of here. Like I get physically enraged.
You pull a big ass broomstick out of your tiny little purse and you start whipping it at them. Get the hell out of here,
No.
you little whippersnappers. Get the fuck
I
out
am
of here.
Alphaba. I will fuck you up. But it's also like, okay, buy whatever you want to, consumerism at its finest, or if your parents are paying for it, why are your butt cheeks out?
I can't stand it.
Why are your butt cheeks out? It drives me insane. On top of that, the other reason I knew I was getting old is I was looking at something like a menu. I left Sephora because I'm like, I can't do this. I went to a restaurant and I was looking at a menu and I was like,
Was it so dark in there?
well, it was dark. It was actually dark now that I think about it, but that's not what got me. I looked at the menu and I was like, you know what sounds good? They got a turkey dinner. I'm talking turkey
Oh.
mashed potatoes with gravy, cranberry. And I was like, this sounds delicious. And in my head, I
Yum.
went, I am my grandmother. I'm Grandma Joan.
It's okay.
Like, I can't believe I'm 32 years old. I just got pissed off about little kids, and now I'm about to have a turkey dinner in the middle of the day.
Honestly, that sounds really good. Craig and I recently went to a restaurant and I looked at the prices on the menu and I made a statement. I took a stance. I said, we're never coming back here.
No.
This is our regular neighborhood bar. $17 for a plate of wings that aren't even that good and to be ignored by the fucking bartender?
Yeah.
There's literally not a chance.
It is insane.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I looked at Craig and he goes, you don't want the wings? Which is what I normally get. And I go, I'm taking a literal stance. I'm not getting them, and I'm getting the flatbread instead, and not okay. And then we went to a different restaurant a couple days later, and I looked at the prices on the menu, and I said, "Now look at this, reasonable prices for a plate of wings.
Yeah.
I will order the wings, please."
Yeah. Or it's the cocktails that are $15.
I'm not doing that.
And the mocktail that's 13.
I'm not doing that.
I'm like, oh, it's $2 cheaper because
So then give me a $2 shot of whatever liquor you put in that.
yeah. Yeah.
Give me a $2 shot.
It's gross.
Give it to me.
Aunt of the groom got so drunk she stripped naked on the dance floor. She snuck back into the wedding and offered people blowjobs. They had to carry her out in wrapped blankets. Look, Aunt Sally's living her best life, apparently. She had to have been on drugs. Or she's mentally deranged.
I don't know. I've seen liquor do some crazy things to some crazy people.
Still. And here's the other thing. Let's give a shout to body positivity. Because if you're willing to strip naked in front of a group of people, you got to be really confident in yourself. And I'm all for that.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think anybody should be doing that. So please, just kindly fuck off with that.
Also, as the wedding photographer, do you stop photographing? Are you
I'm taking the pics.
Hey, I'm out. Like,
oh my God, we never talked about the balls.
Oh, yeah. Let's pause. Hit me.
Okay, so I am shooting a wedding. It is in a different country. It was a few years ago, but there's a tradition from like a college around here. I don't know if it's here or somewhere else, but there's a college tradition that I've actually heard of from different people where the guys get in a big circle, they wrap their arms around each other, but they drop trow. So like their pants are actually around their ankles. I think it might be like a Johnny's thing or something. Pants around their ankles, they're locked arms, they're blah, blah, blah. And then they're singing a song. I don't know if it's like Fishing in the Dark or something, whitey. Yeah. But they're doing it and they're all doing this. And so I'm taking pictures. It's all good and dandy. Some of the people are making comments of like, somebody's well endowed. Yeah. Like, holy shit. I'm not looking. Okay, listen, I got me a man. He's standing in the back. Craig's behind me. He's like, all right, you're just photographing junk at this point. Like, whatever. But I didn't think anything of it. Fun, funny, drunk tradition. It was funny. I get to the gallery editing point. I'm editing these photos. I don't think anything of it. Whatever. I'm looking at junk. Yeah. Not actually drunk that I noticed. However, I deliver the gallery to the bride and groom, and the bride proceeds to respond to me and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Like my dad, there's these pictures of my dad and his literal nuts like popped out of his boxers."
Okay, so I was going to ask, were they boxers?
Yes.
Those are some low-hanging nuts. If they're popping out of boxers?
I don't know. Because here's the thing. I never went and looked for the images. I asked her, I said, do you want me to go back and delete it? Yeah. She was like, it's so funny. Like, we're all dying over here. They were just like, they're a very funny family too. Like, they don't take anything too seriously. Like, they're very lighthearted. They love to have a good time and have fun. So they're like, whatever, it's fine. I'm not going back and looking for the nuts. Not an actual chance in hell that I'm going back and looking for the nuts. Yeah. However, I photographed a U.S. men's sports team for a calendar shoot. This was a few years ago. I'm not going to say which team. It's not like soccer, rugby, or anything like that's crazy like that. Yeah. It is a winter sport, based out of here in Minnesota. Yeah. So they contacted me. I was referred to them. And they said, hey, we are doing a calendar shoot to raise money for an association. And we want to do like a kind of funny take on like a Chippendales calendar shoot. Yeah. So I was like, oh, hilarious. Love it. Okay. So I get there. They're all shirtless, wearing like, they're wearing full pants. Yeah. Black trousers with, the belts, the Chippendales little wrist things, the bow ties, everything, cute. Full 9 yards. So I'm like, this is so like cheeky and cute. So we start doing photos, whatever. And again, they wanted to do like more fun poses, like get stuff with, their gear and equipment that maybe it's just like a little funnier. So I'm posing them, I'm putting them in funny position, they're being funny with it, having fun. I deliver the gallery. Again, I'm editing, I'm delivering, I'm sending them off. Yeah. The text message that I get back, I actually have it because I looked it up because I was dying. The text message that I get back after sending these photos, and I'm going to show you the photo.
I'm so
Maybe
nervous.
not now.
I don't think, no, I feel like we won't show it on camera, but I need to see the photo.
So I messaged them at 3:30 p.m. I go, hey guys, here's the gallery. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for being such great sports with everything.
Done.
He messages back within 30 minutes. Oh my God, Nikki, the questions that I've got for you. Why did insert name go commando? Laughing face, laughing face, laughing face. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my God, what did I do? Like, did I do something crazy? So I go back through the gallery and I see it. A shaft of a penis.
Let me see.
Well, I have to find it.
Okay.
I go, oh my God. I did not notice while editing. I'm so sorry. Like, I will go back and Photoshop this out. They were on their flight to Switzerland when they received this gallery, and they all busted out dying laughing because they're looking through the gallery and suddenly they see their friend's penis in photo. And I will pull it up for you.
I've never accidentally, like, there's never been a situation in which, like, people's pants were down or anything where I would be in this situation. Hold on. Nicole, I didn't think that's what that was gonna be. That is so fucking funny. These are some cute boys. That's so funny.
I was mortified.
I did not think that's what I was walking into. That's so funny.
That's a penis.
That's like a quarter of a penis, maybe a little, depending on the situation. That is so funny.
Well, so I paid a very reputable, because I tried to edit it so many times.
This was before
AI removal in Lightroom. I was trying in Photoshop, and this was before Photoshop AI removal too. I was trying so hard, and I couldn't get it to look right. I had to pay for a service, and I didn't tell them this, but I was like, I'm mortified. I'm delivering people's penises in galleries, but also, why are you going commando? Put your underwear on.
Put your undies on.
I'm not trying to see your weenie.
Yeah. I've never seen a weenie. I've seen boobies, but not...
You've never seen a weenie?
Never, actually. But it's like that... Have you ever heard that sound on TikTok where it's like, yeah, girls, or like, pull your tits out? I have brides, and I love them so much. They are so comfortable with me.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop. They just like drop... They do not care boobies out. And I'm like, get it, girl. Like, no, I won't. I'll put my camera down, but like... We all got them, but that is a situation I've never seen
That is a
before.
wiener.
That was so funny. Am I next or you next? I think you are.
I'm next. The bride got blackout drunk and started flashing her titties to the priest and the rest of the guests at the reception. Long story short, the marriage did not make it to the first anniversary.
Flashing the titties
at the priest's crazy behavior. I will say, my friend got married a few years ago. Did I get very drunk? Yes. Was I walking down the street, not flashing strangers, but my closest friends who I like know and love as I'm a maid of honor in this wedding? Yes, of course. Funny, haha, drunk girl shit.
Yeah.
Would I ever flash a priest in my drunkest of moments? I would like to say that I would not. But I don't know.
Have you ever seen Fleabag? I would flash that priest. Even though that man is gay in real life, but like we like to pretend.
We don't need to say that.
Yeah,
we don't need to talk about that.
I love him. Wedding in upstate Georgia. During the vows, the groom was so nervous he threw up. And I mean projectile vomited all over his bride, the maid of honor, and the preacher. I don't think I've ever heard someone say the preacher, but this is a southern wedding.
But I was also in a cult.
They still laugh about it to this day, but at the time it was pretty bad. It was my wife's niece. She handled it with grace. We have it on tape and we pull it out at their anniversary party yearly.
Oh, but see, this is, again, a case of somebody who can like truly appreciate their marriage, the love that they share, and like look back on something like that and just laugh.
It's like that episode of Sex and the City where Charlotte and Harry get married and everything's going wrong.
Everything.
Yeah, and they're like, this just means like, everything's going to go right in life.
Yep. I love that. Less about what I saw, more about what I didn't see. The priest forgot to actually marry them. He did the whole ceremony, including a part where he gifted the couple an invisible shovel that they could use to dig their way out of problems, and a part where he actually gifted them a painting of people picking potatoes. But he accidentally skipped over the vows, which is crazy. He had to get the couple back together after they got back from their honeymoon to perform the section by itself so that the union could be recognized by the church, which is like a totally church specific thing. Like that's not going to be a specific thing to somebody who doesn't have a religious ceremony and who just wants to like get married and sign a
Yeah, you
paper.
could just sign that. Yeah.
If you want your marriage to be recognized by the church, the fact that you have to go back after your honeymoon and redo it, I think that's kind of cute, actually. Like,
I mean, that's a fun little thing that
Yeah.
you get to do, but also like
annoying. Don't give me a fucking
Bro.
painting of people picking potatoes and then forget my vows. Get it together.
Okay, so this is all at the same wedding. Groom doesn't show up until an hour late. Tux does not fit him at all. Bride and groom's toddler son was allowed to play with a toy truck during the ceremony around the feet of the bridal party. At one point, he lifts the toy truck and slams it into the shin of one of the bridesmaids, drawing blood and interrupting the proceedings for a good 10 minutes. Not to be outdone, the groom is starting to look unwell. He passes out, falling down a small set of stairs. Upon regaining
Consciousness.
thank you. I never get that right. He runs out of the small church out the back. 10 minutes goes by, then 20. He returns with his tuck shirt pulled out, unbuttoned and wide open, bearing chest hair and a gut. He returns to the bride and they finish the ceremony with him looking
No.
like that.
First of all, have you ever kicked a kid? Because I'm kicking you. If you're sitting at my feet chucking a car at me, I'm kicking the car, that's for sure.
Also, it's that video where it's like, I'm Shania Twain when I see a kid, and she's like, kick it.
Literally.
Not all kids.
Not all kids.
But badly behaving kids, what are you, nuts?
Yep.
Get out of here, especially
Not-
at a wedding. I'm all for including children, but like, come on. There's got to be like a little room they can play in. And I was included in my mom's and my dad, or my mom and my stepdad's wedding. I was the cutest little 5-year-old ever. But you know what? I shut the fuck up.
Well, here's my thing. I don't like kids at weddings. I'm not going to lie. I had so many kids at my wedding too. So it's not like when I did get married years ago. When I get married in the future, will I have kids at my wedding? Yes. Because if my family members have kids, I will have them there.
Yeah.
And my wedding now is very different than what I, had years ago when I got married the first time.
Yeah.
However, if you're at a wedding, like a photographing wedding or a wedding that we're working as a vendor, I will say it is very disappointing when there are poorly behaved children and their parents do not
They don't
evacuate immediately.
They're just like,
leave.
because they're so used to the child screaming
It
at the
is
top of
not
their
okay.
lungs. I'm like, you gotta grab that kid.
If your child is disrupting somebody's most important and special day of their lives and you are so okay with allowing them to do that, or you're so oblivious to the fact that your child is as disruptive as they are at somebody else's wedding, then I would have wished that I didn't even invite you.
Yeah. I've seen this a couple times with first dances. The bride and groom are out on the dance floor and then
the kids run
someone's
out.
toddler runs out.
Get your kid.
And the parents are like, la 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 la. Get your kid. Like, I've even made eyes at someone and I'm like,
kids know. Kids look at me and they know
they
because
know they're pushing boundaries. Like,
but
that's
I
what they're
very
doing.
non-verbally communicate with a child. I will yell at you.
Yeah.
Do not do it. I will make one of these faces.
Yeah. Like, you need to stop.
And they'll test it a little bit and they'll find out. I've yelled at strangers' children. Mind you, I love kids.
Yeah.
I nannied forever and ever and ever. But I saw some kids chasing some geese at a park one time. You know who yelled at them? Me, from across the park. And my friend was mortified. She was like, oh my God. And I said, get away from the geese.
My thing is, there's a venue that has chickens, and these kids are picking these chickens up and like really, and I've literally been like, put the chicken down, and it's not even because honestly I'm worried about the kid. I hope the kid does get picked. Maybe that'll learn a lesson. I don't want the venue to get sued. Like a chicken pecks your kid's eye because
then you're screaming and crying. Like, no.
Agreed.
You're done.
Last one, I think.
This pales in comparison, but this was a total white trash wedding, which honestly, not very nice thing to say. By the time the bride and groom got from the church to the actual reception, which took about 30 minutes, the entire wedding party was already obliterated and drunk. Each of the wedding party was introduced and were varying degrees of undress. Ties missing, jackets gone, dresses hiked up, barefoot, etc. The bride and groom were introduced and came walking in. The groom was wearing a bow tie, boxers, and dress shoes, carrying a bottle of whiskey. The bride was wearing what I determined were either white panties or a bikini bottom, a white sheer cami, and appeared to be braless underneath, her veil and cowboy boots, carrying a natural light case of beer. Love a natural light case of beer, not gonna lie. Their parents were given the beer and whiskey and proceeded to start drinking them. About the time I left with my girlfriend at the time, which was the bride's coworker, the bride was dancing with her friends wearing nothing but her new husband's long tuxedo coat, and it did not cover anything as she kept it unbuttoned. The best man was feeling her up the whole time. Her bridesmaids were wearing their dates' shirts or coats in their bras and panties while grinding on their obviously turned on dates. Obviously turned on dates is crazy. The groom was legit passed out drunk under a table. Yeah, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not. The second I see you coming in your
bikini bottoms.
in your bikini bottoms, I'm out.
No thanks.
Don't fucking play with me.
And here's the thing, just in personal experience, if you are gonna act like that, fine, it's your wedding. Don't call up your wedding photographer when you get your gallery and say, "Hey, I don't feel like we look what's the word? What is the word that was used? Not aesthetically pleasing, but like we don't look, I can't even think of the word. But you cannot be mad at your wedding photographer for how you look in those photos. I've been in a situation where people got so incredibly hammered and then I got yelled at and said like we need money back or whatever because our faces don't look good in these photos. Baby girl,
That was a you choice. That
I
was a
cannot
personal
control how
decision.
your face looks. And this is also a shout out to everybody. As someone who also is like, I don't walk around thinking I'm hot shit by any means. I know who I am. I love me, but like I know who I am. Your photographer cannot make you look like someone you are not.
Yeah.
You are hot. You don't realize how hot you
Yeah.
are, but everyone's their biggest critic. And I just feel like there are people out there who hire wedding photographers or photographers in general or hairstylists and makeup artists. You hire all these vendors and you think that they are going to make you someone that you're not. We are
Yeah.
here to show you how beautiful you actually are, but you can't show up to a shoot and then you get the photos back. You're like, I don't like how I look. This must be the photographer's problem. No, it's a you problem.
Maybe you shouldn't have been blackout drunk.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know. In your
sorry.
bikini bottom. Anyway,
Anyways,
good times.
Yeah, good times. Okay, thank you guys so much for sharing your hump day with us. Don't forget to subscribe, review the pod wherever you listen. New episodes, kind of full episodes drop every Friday on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and then these little mini episodes on hump day.
Make sure you follow along with us on Instagram at cocktailhour.podcast and submit all of your stories or questions or concerns or hot takes. The link is in our bio and everything is anonymous.
Agreed. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye.